Questions are emerging about trust in the state government after revelations of large-scale accounting discrepancies and hidden money.
And politics professor Steve Woolpert joins us. He's also the dean of the Liberal Arts School at St. Mary's. Good morning, Professor. Thank you for coming in.
It's a pleasure.
What is the impact of this from a political standpoint? I mean, we're talking about $56 million. Oh, we found it. And after all the fundraising for the parks, I mean, if nothing else, it looks bad.
Well, it's a real issue of credibility. If we say we're out of money, and it turns out we weren't really out of money, then people begin to wonder, can we trust the government to be good stewards of our tax revenues?
Which is an especial problem when we're talking about the fact that they're asking us to raise taxes in November, the sales tax for everybody, and then some extra taxes on the richest Californians. Who wants to give more money to the state government if they simply can't keep track of it?
It's always a dilemma because the services government provides are very popular. The taxes that fund them are not. This year we have two tax propositions on the ballot competing, and we know that that makes it harder for either one of them to gain support. So even though people say, yes, we really want to keep these services going, we don't want the schools to be cut more and so forth, this really makes people wonder, isn't there some other way? Why should I pay my taxes when there are all these secret funds?
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Brown has made it clear that if the voters don't approve his tax measure in November, that more cuts to University of California and Cal State. Do you think this little, I hate to use the word scandal, but missing funds, oversight in the Parks Department, could that have a trickle-down effect to jeopardize the governor's tax measure, do you think?
It could. The latest polls last week that I saw, his measure was ahead by about 56%, which isn't a lot this far ahead. But we haven't seen what the impact of this news story will be on voters' willingness to pay taxes. But the general fund, which is where the taxes go, really does have that deficit. It's really true that more cuts will have to be made if those tax measures aren't approved. These special funds cannot be redirected towards the general fund by law.
I think that's where a lot of the confusion comes in, because people say, oh, hey, we found millions of dollars, why don't we go ahead and put that toward the schools? But the way the law's written, that is not possible.
These are funded not by taxes, but by user fees. So in this case, when campers go to a state park and they stay in a campground, they pay a few dollars. That goes into this special fund. It can only be used for campgrounds. And the same is true for the 500 other special funds around the state. By law, they are earmarked for specific uses, which people like. They want to know that if I'm paying my money for some service, that's what this money is going to be used for. But the general fund is paid for through taxes, and that's what the propositions are about.
You saw in the story we did before the commercial break from Brian Rooney, he interviewed a girl who raised $500 with her friend to save one of the parks, and he asked her, well, do you feel misled by the adults? I mean, did Sacramento mislead the voters in this case? Is it honest, accounting oversight? What really happened?
It was not honest. They were deliberately, someone, we don't know who exactly in the Parks Department, was deliberately not reporting money. The director of the Parks Department said she didn't know about it, but the subordinate who was in charge of this said he told her. So we still don't know exactly who knew what, so there's an issue of accountability here. How could the state not know that there was money sitting in this account when the controller would report it, but the state finance department didn't see it?
I think there is a lot of confusion out there. I was actually out talking to voters last week after this all broke, and a lot of people were just saying, they're just fed up with Sacramento. They're just really frustrated. I mean, how will the proponents of the tax measures get them back on their side?
They'll have to keep reminding them what will happen if these measures fail, what cuts will have to be made. The people who think government is the problem, not the solution, will use this as a case study, as the poster child for why government shouldn't be given more of our money.
All right, Steve Woolpert from St. Mary's College, thanks for being here and breaking it down.